What if everything you've been told about success, growth, and achievement is wrong? What if the real secret isn't about waiting for the right moment or finding the perfect plan, but about simply taking action right now? In a world that thrives on procrastination, comfort zones, and excuses, the truth is harsh. The longer you wait, the more you miss out on the life you deserve. So why are you still waiting? Why do you keep telling yourself, "I'll start tomorrow," or "I'm not ready yet"? Time is slipping through your fingers as you sit there, paralyzed by fear and doubt. But what if you could change that today? What if the key to your future success is just one decision away, the decision to start taking action now? Every moment you delay is a moment you can't get back. Are you willing to waste your life on someday? Or are you ready to stop letting excuses control you? The answers lie in the simple act of showing up, of doing something, anything, even when it feels hard. Today, I'm here to show you how small, consistent action is the one thing that can change everything. Before we dive in, hit subscribe so you don't miss out on this life-changing journey. You need to be here, right now, if you want to unlock the potential inside you. So take a second, subscribe, and let's get started. The life you've been dreaming of? It's waiting for you to take the first step. Chapter 1. The Trap of Overthinking. You know what you need to do. You've set the goals, made the plans, watched the motivational videos, and maybe even read a few self-help books. But when it's time to actually move, something holds you back. You hesitate, you delay, and before you know it, another day slips through your fingers. This isn't just laziness. It's a mental battle between action and overthinking. Overthinking is a silent killer of dreams. It disguises itself as being careful or analyzing the situation, but in reality, it's fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of discomfort. So you sit there, waiting for the perfect moment, convincing yourself you need more time, more information, more confidence. But here's the harsh truth. The more you think, the less you do. Most people don't fail because they try and fall short. They fail because they never start. The longer you stay in your head, the stronger the resistance becomes. Your mind starts playing tricks on you, making the task seem bigger, scarier, and more exhausting than it really is. You imagine worst-case scenarios that will probably never happen. You convince yourself you're not ready, that you need more preparation. But the truth? You're just stuck in a loop of inaction. The only way to break free is to force yourself to move before your mind has a chance to stop you. Action is the cure for overthinking. The moment you take even the smallest step, your brain shifts from fear to momentum. The weight of hesitation starts lifting, and you realize this wasn't as hard as you made it seem. Every great achievement started with a single decision to act, despite the doubts. Right now, at this moment, you have a choice. Stay in the prison of overthinking or break free through action. Your goals aren't waiting for you. Either you take control or your hesitation controls you. Chapter 2. The Power of Immediate Action. You've probably told yourself, "I'll start tomorrow." But how many times has tomorrow come and gone without anything changing? The biggest lie we tell ourselves is that we'll take action later. The truth is, if you don't act now, you probably never will. Your brain is wired to resist change. It prefers comfort and familiarity, even if that means staying stuck. Every time you hesitate, your brain reinforces the habit of procrastination, making it even harder to start. This is why successful people don't wait for motivation. They force themselves to take action immediately. They know that the longer they wait, the weaker their drive becomes. When you act immediately, you bypass the mental debate. You don't give your mind time to make excuses. You just move. It's like jumping into cold water. If you hesitate, you'll psych yourself out. But if you dive in, your body adjusts quickly, and you realize it wasn't as bad as you thought. Success isn't about waiting for the perfect time. It's about forcing yourself to move, no matter how you feel. Every time you act despite hesitation, you build discipline. Every time you choose action over excuses, you prove to yourself that you are in control. Waiting won't change your life. Action will. And the best time to act? Right now. Chapter 3. How Pain Forces Growth. Nobody likes pain. It's uncomfortable, frustrating, and sometimes unbearable. But here's the truth. Pain is the greatest teacher you'll ever have. Think about the moments in your life when you changed the most. It wasn't when everything was easy and comfortable. It was when life hit you hard, when you failed, lost something important, or felt like you had no other choice but to change. Pain forces you to grow in ways comfort never will. Most people avoid pain at all costs. They run from challenges, stay in their comfort zones, and do everything to avoid discomfort. But what they don't realize is that by avoiding pain, they're also avoiding progress. Growth only happens when you step outside of what's easy. Pain is a signal that something needs to change. It's your body telling you to move, your mind telling you to evolve, your life telling you to stop settling. The problem isn't pain itself, it's how you respond to it. You can either let pain break you or let it build you. Successful people don't fear pain, they use it. They let failure fuel their next move. They turn setbacks into comebacks. They understand that discomfort isn't a sign to quit, it's a sign they're growing. The gym teaches this perfectly. You don't build muscle by lifting what's easy. You grow by pushing past resistance, by feeling the burn and doing one more rep. Life works the same way. The more you embrace pain, the stronger you become. The next time you face a challenge, don't run. Don't complain. Don't wish it was easier. Instead, ask yourself, what is this teaching me? How can I use this to get better? Pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. The moment you decide to use pain as fuel, instead of letting it break you, you become unstoppable. Your greatest transformation will come from your toughest moments. The pain you feel today will be the strength you stand on tomorrow. Stop avoiding it. Face it, use it, and let it push you forward. Chapter 4. Stop waiting to feel ready. If you're waiting for the perfect moment to start, you'll be waiting forever. The truth is, you will never feel 100% ready. Your mind will always find a reason to hesitate, a reason to delay. That's how fear keeps you trapped. Most people believe they need confidence before they take action, but that's backward. Confidence doesn't come first. Action does. You don't feel ready and then start. You start, and then you become ready along the way. Every expert was once a beginner. Every successful person started before they felt like they could handle it. They weren't ready, but they moved anyway. Think about the first time you did anything challenging. Driving a car, speaking in front of a crowd, trying a new skill. You probably didn't feel ready, but you did it anyway. And what happened? You figured it out. Your brain adapted, your skills improved, and suddenly, what once seemed impossible became second nature. The key to success isn't waiting until you feel like doing something, it's doing it despite how you feel. The moment you force yourself to take action, your mind starts to adjust, the fear weakens, and the momentum builds. The only difference between people who achieve their goals and those who don't is simple. The ones who win take action before they feel ready. They understand that clarity, confidence, and skill all come after they start moving, not before. Right now, you have a choice. You can wait until you feel like it and let another day pass you by. Or you can take the first step today, not tomorrow, not when you're more prepared. Now, Chapter 5. Motivation is a lie. People love to talk about motivation. They wait for it, chase it, and depend on it to get things done. But here's the problem. Motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes. Some days you feel fired up, and other days you don't want to do anything at all. If your success depends on motivation, you'll never be consistent. The biggest myth is that you need to be motivated to take action. That's false. Discipline beats motivation every time. The people who win in life don't wait until they feel like working. They show up no matter what. They go to the gym when they're tired. They work on their business when they don't feel like it. They take action, even when motivation is nowhere to be found. The secret is to build habits that make action automatic. Instead of relying on how you feel, you create routines that make action the default. This is why athletes train every day, whether they're inspired or not. It's why successful entrepreneurs keep grinding, even when they don't feel like it. They understand that results don't come from occasional bursts of motivation. They come from consistent, disciplined action. So stop waiting to feel motivated. Instead, build habits that keep you moving, no matter what. Set a schedule and stick to it. Make taking action a non-negotiable part of your day. The more you do this, the less motivation will even matter, because success won't be based on how you feel, but on the fact that you show up every single time. Chapter 6. The 2-minute rule. One of the hardest parts of taking action is just getting started. Your brain resists effort, making even simple tasks feel overwhelming. But there's a trick to override this resistance: the 2-minute rule. This rule is simple. Just commit to 2 minutes of action. Whatever task you're avoiding, tell yourself you'll do it for only 2 minutes. Need to go to the gym? Just put on your workout clothes and step out the door. Need to study? Open your book and read for 2 minutes. Need to clean your room? Just pick up one thing. Why does this work? Because the hardest part of any task is starting. Once you begin, your brain shifts from resistance to momentum. 2 minutes turn into 10, then 20, then an hour. Before you know it, you're fully engaged in the task you were avoiding. Your brain likes to exaggerate how hard something is before you start. But when you break it down into a tiny, manageable step, it becomes easy. And once you start, finishing becomes the natural next step. The next time you catch yourself procrastinating, don't think about the entire task. Just focus on starting for 2 minutes. Once you begin, the resistance disappears and action takes over. Laziness isn't about lacking ability. It's about letting your mind stop you before you even begin. The secret to action isn't finding more motivation. It's making the first move, no matter how small. Chapter 7. How your brain tricks you. Your mind is a master of deception. It convinces you that you need to wait for the right time, that you need more energy, that you need to prepare more. It makes simple tasks feel overwhelming. It creates endless excuses. But here's the truth. Your brain is not designed to make you successful. It's designed to keep you safe. Every time you try to step out of your comfort zone, your brain sounds the alarm. It floods you with doubts and fears, telling you to stay put, to avoid discomfort. This is why it feels so hard to take action, even when you know what you should be doing. But here's the key. Your brain doesn't control you. You control your brain. The moment you realize that hesitation is just a mental reflex, you can override it. Every time you feel resistance, remind yourself, this is just my mind trying to keep me comfortable. Then act anyway. Your thoughts are not commands. Just because your brain says, I don't feel like it, doesn't mean you have to listen. The strongest people in the world aren't the ones with the most motivation. They're the ones who know how to shut their thoughts off and just move. Right now, your mind might be telling you to wait, to hesitate, to stay comfortable. Ignore it. Move anyway. Do what needs to be done. Every time you do, you take back control. Chapter 8. The Power of Persistence. There's a famous saying, success is the sum of small efforts, repeated day in and day out. This is the essence of persistence. Persistence is about staying committed to your goals, even when the results aren't immediate, when things get tough, and when you want to quit. It's about continuing to take action, no matter the obstacles in your way. In the world of personal development, persistence is often the factor that separates those who succeed from those who don't. Many people start with enthusiasm, but when they don't see immediate results, they give up. Persistence is the ability to keep going when the excitement fades. It's knowing that progress is happening, even if it's not visible yet. One of the most important truths about persistence is that it doesn't always feel glamorous. There will be days when you want to quit. There will be times when you feel stuck and frustrated. But persistence is about pushing through those moments and continuing forward. It's about making the decision to keep going, even when the path ahead feels unclear. Persistence also means being adaptable. The road to success is rarely a straight line. You will face setbacks, failures, and detours along the way. But each time you hit a roadblock, it's an opportunity to learn and adjust your approach. Persistence is not about doing the same thing over and over again in the face of failure. It's about figuring out what works, adjusting your strategy, and trying again. A great example of persistence is Thomas Edison. He failed thousands of times before he finally invented the light bulb. But instead of seeing failure as the end, he viewed each setback as a lesson, a necessary step toward his ultimate goal. If he had given up after his first, fifth, or even 100th failure, the world would have never experienced the light bulb. Persistence requires belief. Belief in yourself, belief in your purpose, and belief in the process. When you persist, you show up every day, even when you don't see immediate results, because you know that success is a matter of when, not if. So when things get tough, when you feel like quitting, remember this: success is built on persistence. The more persistent you are, the closer you get to your goal. Keep going, even when it seems impossible, because with persistence, you will eventually break through the barriers standing in your way. Chapter 9. The pain of regret is worse than the pain of discipline. Right now, you have two choices: the short-term discomfort of taking action or the long-term pain of regret. One is temporary. The other stays with you forever. Discipline is hard. Waking up early, working out, pushing through fear. It's uncomfortable. But you know what's worse: looking back at your life and realizing you wasted it. Regret is brutal. It's the pain of knowing you could have done more, but you didn't. It's watching opportunities slip away because you were too scared to take them. It's seeing people move ahead while you stay stuck, not because you weren't capable, but because you didn't take action. Successful people aren't special. They feel the same discomfort you do, but they choose the pain of discipline over the pain of regret. They understand that suffering for a moment is better than suffering for a lifetime. You have that choice right now. Will you take action even when it's hard? Or will you let another day pass, knowing that every moment of hesitation adds up to a lifetime of missed chances? Pain is inevitable, but the pain of regret, that's a pain you never want to feel. So do the hard things now your future self is begging you to. Chapter 10. Your future self is watching. Imagine yourself 5 years from now. Who do you see? Someone who took action, pushed through resistance, and built the life they wanted? Or someone who kept waiting, kept making excuses, and stayed stuck in the same place? Every choice you make today shapes that future version of you. The hard truth is, your future self will either thank you or resent you for the decisions you make right now. Think about it. Every time you avoid a challenge, every time you procrastinate, every time you choose comfort over progress, you're making life harder for your future self. But every time you push yourself, every time you take that uncomfortable step forward, you're making life easier for the person you're becoming. The people who succeed in life don't have more talent. They don't have fewer problems. The only difference is they do what needs to be done, even when they don't feel like it. They don't leave their future to chance. They build it, one action at a time. So ask yourself, what kind of future are you creating right now? Are you setting yourself up for success, or are you making things harder for yourself down the road? The choice is always yours. But remember, your future self is watching. Chapter 11. Small wins lead to big changes. Most people think success comes from massive, life-changing actions. But the truth is, real success is built on small, consistent wins. A single workout won't get you in shape. A single productive day won't build your career. But when you repeat these small actions every day, they add up. Momentum builds, habits form, and before you know it, your entire life has changed. The problem is, most people want results instantly. They work hard for a few days, don't see progress, and give up. They don't realize that success isn't about going big, it's about staying consistent. Look at the most successful people in any field. They didn't become great overnight. They showed up every single day, whether they felt like it or not. They focused on progress, not perfection, and eventually, all those small wins turned into something massive. If you're feeling stuck, don't focus on the big picture. It's overwhelming. Instead, ask yourself, what small win can I achieve today? It could be waking up on time, finishing one task, or pushing yourself just 1% more than yesterday. Because when you start stacking small wins, they turn into unstoppable momentum. And that's when everything changes. Chapter 12. Action eliminates fear. Fear thrives in inaction. The longer you wait to do something, the bigger and scarier it seems. But the moment you take action, fear starts to lose its power. Think about something you were once scared to do, maybe public speaking, driving, or trying something new. At first, it felt terrifying, but after you did it a few times, the fear faded. That's because fear isn't real. It's just your brain exaggerating the unknown. The only way to beat fear is to move before your mind has time to talk you out of it. Every second you hesitate, your brain looks for reasons to stop you. But the second you act, your mind shifts from fear to focus. Successful people feel fear just like you do. The difference? They don't let it stop them. They understand that the only way to destroy fear is through action. They know that courage isn't the absence of fear. It's moving forward despite it. So if fear is holding you back, don't wait for it to go away. Act anyway, because once you take that first step, you'll realize the fear was never real to begin with. Chapter 13. The truth about motivation. Most people think motivation is the key to success. They believe they need to feel inspired before they take action. But this is the biggest lie keeping you stuck. Motivation is unreliable, temporary, and completely unnecessary. Think about it. How often have you planned to do something but waited for the right moment to feel motivated? And how many times did that moment never come? That's because motivation isn't something you can count on. It comes and goes like the weather. And if you rely on it, you'll stay stuck forever. Successful people don't wait for motivation. They don't rely on feelings. They operate on discipline. They wake up and do what needs to be done, whether they feel like it or not. They don't waste time debating with themselves. They've trained their minds to act regardless of their mood. The secret is this: action creates motivation, not the other way around. The hardest part of any task is starting. But once you start moving, momentum kicks in. You stop thinking and start doing. The energy builds, and suddenly motivation follows. So stop waiting to feel ready. Stop expecting motivation to carry you. Move first, and motivation will catch up later. Chapter 14. How to rewire your brain for action. Your mind is like a machine running on programmed habits and responses. Right now, if you struggle with procrastination, it's because your brain has been conditioned to delay action. But the good news is you can rewire it. Think about how habits are formed. When you repeat an action over and over, your brain creates a shortcut, making it automatic. That's why brushing your teeth or driving feels effortless. You've trained your mind to do it without thinking. The same principle applies to taking action. Right now, hesitation is your habit, but you can rewire your brain by doing the opposite. Every time you feel resistance, instead of stopping, push through. Train yourself to act quickly without overthinking. The more you do this, the more you rewire your brain to associate action with speed. You're breaking the habit of hesitation and building the habit of decisiveness. Eventually, you won't even need to count. You'll just move. Your brain isn't fixed. You have the power to reshape it, but you have to train it through action, not thought. Move now, and soon, action will become second nature. Chapter 15. How to beat laziness. Laziness isn't a personality trait. It's a habit. And like any habit, it can be broken. Most people think they're lazy, but in reality, they just haven't learned how to start. The problem isn't the work. It's the idea of starting that feels overwhelming. You look at a big task, and your mind freaks out. You imagine how long it will take, how much energy it requires, and before you even begin, you're exhausted. But here's the truth: you don't need to feel ready to start. You just need to start small. This is where the 2-minute strategy comes in. Whenever you need to do something but feel resistance, commit to doing it for just 2 minutes. That's it. If you need to work out, don't think about the entire session. Just do 2 minutes. Need to study? Just focus for 2 minutes. Once you begin, momentum takes over. Why does this work? Because the hardest part of any task is the first step. Once you break the initial resistance, continuing becomes easy. It's like pushing a heavy rock. Getting it moving is tough, but once it's rolling, it keeps going with less effort. This strategy works because it removes the pressure. Instead of seeing a task as a massive mountain, you break it down into a simple step. And once you start, you naturally want to keep going. So the next time laziness tries to stop you, don't fight it, outsmart it. Tell yourself, I'll just do 2 minutes. Then watch how quickly 2 minutes turn into 20. Chapter 16. The cost of inaction. Every day you don't take action, you're paying a price. But unlike the price of effort, which leads to growth and progress, the price of inaction leads to regret wasted time, and lost opportunities. Most people don't realize how expensive inaction is because the cost isn't immediate. It builds up over time, silently robbing you of the life you could have had. Think about it. Every time you choose to scroll through your phone instead of working on your goals, every time you tell yourself you'll start tomorrow, every time you avoid a challenge because it feels uncomfortable, you're making a choice. And that choice comes with consequences. Maybe it's missing out on a job opportunity because you never improved your skills. Maybe it's staying in the same financial situation year after year because you never took the risk to start something new. Maybe it's watching your health decline because you kept pushing off exercise. The painful truth is that nothing stays the same. If you're not moving forward, you're falling behind. Life doesn't pause while you wait to feel ready. The world keeps moving, and those who take action keep growing. Meanwhile, those who hesitate get left behind. 5 years from now, will you be proud of the choices you made today? Or will you look back with regret, wishing you had started sooner? The best way to avoid the cost of inaction is to recognize that waiting is a trap. There is no perfect time, no ideal moment, no magical feeling that will suddenly make everything easy. The only way to change your life is to start, right now, with what you have, where you are. Every action you take moves you closer to the life you want. Every excuse you make pushes it further away. The price of action is effort, but the price of inaction is a lifetime of what-ifs. Choose wisely. Chapter 17. The one decision that changes everything. There is one decision that, once made, transforms everything about your life. The decision to stop negotiating with yourself. Most people fail to take action because they allow their minds to debate every decision. They wake up and ask themselves, "Do I feel like working out?" They sit down to work and think, "Maybe I should check my phone first." They know what needs to be done, but instead of acting, they let their thoughts create doubt, hesitation, and delay. The secret of high achievers is that they don't give themselves an option. They don't waste mental energy debating whether they should act. They've already decided, once and for all, that they will do what needs to be done, no matter how they feel. This is what separates those who succeed from those who stay stuck. They eliminate the mental negotiation and move straight into action. Think about all the energy you waste trying to convince yourself to do things you already know you should do. Think about how exhausting it is to fight that internal battle every single day. Now, imagine what would happen if that battle disappeared. If, instead of debating, you simply did. No hesitation, no excuses, just action. This is what discipline truly is, making a decision once and sticking to it, no matter what. It's not about willpower, it's about refusing to let your emotions control your actions. It's about training yourself to follow through, even when it's uncomfortable, even when you don't feel like it. The moment you stop negotiating with yourself, everything changes. You stop waiting for motivation. You stop making excuses. You stop wasting time. And most importantly, you start moving forward. So make the decision now. Decide that from this moment on, action is not optional. It's automatic. Once you do that, your entire life will transform. Chapter 18. Stop thinking, start doing. One of the biggest reasons people fail to take action is because they overthink everything. They analyze, they plan, they worry about every possible outcome, and in the process, they do nothing. Thinking has its place, but action is what creates results. You can't think your way into success. You have to do something. The problem is, most people believe they need more information before they start. They think they need to research more, prepare more, wait until they know exactly what to do. But the truth is, you learn faster by doing than by thinking. No amount of reading about swimming will teach you how to swim. No amount of studying about business will make you a successful entrepreneur. Real learning happens through experience, through mistakes, through action. Overthinking kills progress because it keeps you stuck in an endless loop of hesitation. You think about all the ways something could go wrong. You imagine every obstacle. You replay scenarios in your mind until you convince yourself that you're not ready. But here's the truth. You will never feel 100% ready. There will always be uncertainty. There will always be risk. The people who succeed aren't the ones who have all the answers before they start. They're the ones who start before they have all the answers. If you find yourself stuck in overthinking, force yourself to take the smallest possible step. Instead of planning an entire workout routine, just do 10 push-ups. Instead of researching how to start a business, just create a simple product and put it out there. Action eliminates doubt because once you're in motion, your brain shifts from thinking to doing. You stop imagining problems and start solving them. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes. The more you think, the less you do. If you want to change your life, stop thinking so much and start moving. Because no matter how much you prepare, the only way to win is to take action. Chapter 19, The Power of Urgency. Every time you tell yourself, "I'll do it later," you're lying. Later never comes. The problem isn't time. The problem is that you've trained your brain to delay action. And every time you do, it becomes easier to keep postponing. This is why so many people never reach their goals. They assume they have time, so they move slowly, making small, meaningless efforts here and there, thinking that eventually everything will fall into place. But the truth is, time is running out, and the longer you wait, the harder it becomes to take action. Most people live their lives believing they have unlimited chances. They think they can start tomorrow, next week, or next year, and it won't make a difference. But look back at your own life. How many things did you say you'd do but never actually did? How many opportunities slipped away because you thought you had time? How many dreams have faded because you kept waiting for the right moment? The greatest mistake you can make is assuming you have more time than you do. If something is important, you must act on it immediately. The moment you get an idea, start moving. The moment you feel resistance, push through it. The moment you think, "I should probably do this," stop thinking and just do it. There is no later. There is only now. The people who accomplish the most in life don't wait until they feel like it. They move with urgency. They understand that every second wasted is a second they'll never get back. They don't tell themselves they'll start tomorrow because they know tomorrow isn't guaranteed. If you want to be successful, train yourself to act fast. Shorten the gap between idea and execution. When something crosses your mind, don't hesitate. Move. Whether it's making a difficult phone call, starting a new habit, or chasing a goal, do it now. The more you embrace urgency, the less time you'll waste. And in the end, that's what separates those who achieve from those who dream. Chapter 20, Mastering Self-Discipline. Motivation may help you start, but only discipline keeps you going. If you rely on motivation, you'll only take action when you feel like it. But if you develop discipline, you'll take action no matter how you feel. This is the ultimate difference between success and failure. Some people let their emotions control them, while others train themselves to push forward, even when it's difficult. Think of discipline like a muscle. If you don't use it, it weakens. If you train it, it grows stronger. Right now, your habits are controlling you. If you've built a habit of laziness, your brain will always push you to take the easy route. But if you start training yourself to act despite discomfort, you'll rewire your brain to work for you instead of against you. The first step to mastering discipline is removing the option to quit. Most people fail because they allow themselves to negotiate. They say, "I'll go to the gym unless I feel too tired. I'll work on my goals unless I don't have time." These small mental escape routes give you permission to fail. But what if quitting was never an option? What if you treated your goals like oxygen, as something you couldn't live without? This is why identity matters. If you see yourself as someone who struggles with action, your brain will always find ways to stay in that identity. But if you decide, right now, that you are the kind of person who takes action, who doesn't make excuses, who follows through no matter what, your brain will start working in alignment with that belief. The second step is creating an environment that forces action. If you leave room for distraction, if you make it easy to avoid effort, your brain will take the easy way out. But if you set yourself up in a way where taking action is the only choice, you'll have no option but to move forward. This is why people who surround themselves with high achievers tend to succeed. They're constantly in an environment that pushes them to act. And finally, discipline is built through repetition. The more you force yourself to act, the easier it becomes. At first, it will be hard. Your brain will resist. But every time you push through, you prove to yourself that you're in control. Over time, discipline becomes your default setting, and action becomes effortless. If you master discipline, you master life. Because once you remove the need for motivation, nothing can stop you. Chapter 21. How to destroy procrastination for good. Procrastination isn't laziness. It's fear. Most people don't delay action because they're incapable. They delay because they're afraid. Afraid of failure, afraid of discomfort, afraid of the effort it will take. And because they don't recognize this fear, they fall into the same patterns over and over, thinking they just need to try harder next time. The truth is, procrastination is a habit. And like any habit, it can be broken. The first step is to recognize that every time you delay action, you're reinforcing the habit of avoidance. The longer you wait, the stronger the habit becomes. But the moment you break the cycle by taking immediate action, no matter how small, you weaken procrastination's grip. One of the biggest tricks your brain plays on you is making tasks seem bigger than they actually are. Your mind magnifies the effort required, making you believe that starting is much harder than it actually is. But how many times have you finally started something and realized it wasn't nearly as bad as you thought? That's because action is the cure for procrastination. The moment you begin, the resistance fades. The key to overcoming procrastination is to lower the barrier to entry. Instead of telling yourself you need to finish a huge task, tell yourself you only need to start. Instead of saying, "I have to write a 10-page report," say, "I'll just write one sentence." Instead of thinking, "I need to work out for an hour," think, "I'll just do 5 push-ups." These small commitments bypass the fear of starting. And once you're in motion, momentum carries you forward. Another powerful tool is the urgency trick. Give yourself artificial deadlines. Most people work best under pressure, but they never create urgency for themselves. If you have a task, set a countdown timer and force yourself to complete it within that time. If you know you'll procrastinate on something, tell a friend you'll have it done by a specific time, creating accountability. When there's a real consequence for delay, your brain switches from hesitation to action. Finally, stop identifying as a procrastinator. The more you tell yourself, "I'm just someone who procrastinates," the more your brain will reinforce that identity. Instead, Tell yourself, I am someone who takes action. Your brain is wired to act in alignment with your identity. The more you believe you are a person who moves fast, the more naturally you will act that way. Procrastination isn't who you are. It's just a pattern you've been following. And the moment you decide to break it, everything changes. Chapter 22. Stop overthinking. Overthinking is the silent killer of action. The more you think, the less you do. The more you analyze, the more reasons you find to delay. And the longer you wait, the harder it becomes to take that first step. Most people don't fail because they lack the ability. They fail because they think too much and act too little. Every time you hesitate, you train your brain to avoid action. Every time you overanalyze, you paralyze yourself. You've probably experienced this before. You want to start something, a project, a workout routine, a difficult conversation, but instead of moving forward, you get stuck in your head. You weigh every option, predict every possible outcome, and convince yourself you need more information before making a decision. The more you think, the more your mind fills with doubt. And before you know it, the moment is gone, the opportunity fades, and you're left with nothing but regret. The harsh truth is that indecision is a decision. When you hesitate, you are actively choosing inaction. The most successful people aren't the ones who always make the perfect decision. They're the ones who make a decision and adapt as they go. They understand that no amount of thinking will give them absolute certainty. Instead of waiting for the perfect plan, they move forward and adjust along the way. If you struggle with overthinking, start using the 5-second rule. The moment you feel hesitation creeping in, count down from 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and force yourself to take immediate action. This interrupts your brain's habit of stalling and forces you into motion before doubt takes over. The faster you act, the less time your brain has to create excuses. Another powerful strategy is limiting decision-making time. Set a strict deadline for making choices. If you spend hours debating whether to start a task, cut that time down to minutes. If you normally take days to decide, shrink it to hours. The faster you make decisions, the faster you move forward, and the more momentum you build. But perhaps the most important mindset shift is accepting that you will never have all the answers. No decision is perfect. No plan is risk-free. But inaction guarantees failure, while action always gives you a chance. The people who achieve their goals aren't the ones who always make the right choices. They're the ones who stop overthinking, make a choice, and keep moving forward no matter what. Chapter 23. Train your brain to take action. Your brain is wired for efficiency. It doesn't like change, it doesn't like effort, and it doesn't like discomfort. This is why action feels hard, because your brain wants to keep you in your comfort zone. But what if you could rewire your mind to crave action instead of resisting it? What if you could make productivity your default state? The secret lies in understanding momentum. Just like a train takes more energy to start moving but gains speed with time, your brain follows the same principle. The hardest part of any task is the beginning. But once you're in motion, continuing becomes easier. This is why action leads to more action, and inaction leads to more inaction. Think about it. The days when you wake up and immediately start working, you get more done effortlessly. But the days when you hesitate, scroll on your phone, or delay starting, it becomes harder to focus. This isn't just random, it's momentum at work. Your brain follows the path you set for it. If you train yourself to start quickly, your brain learns to expect action. If you allow hesitation, your brain learns to resist effort. To build momentum, Start with micro actions. If a task feels overwhelming, break it down to the smallest possible step. Need to go to the gym? Just put on your workout clothes. Need to write a report? Just type one sentence. Once you start, your brain naturally wants to continue. Starting is the key to everything. Another technique is habit stacking. Tie new actions to existing habits. If you already drink coffee every morning, use that moment to set up your work for the day. If you check your phone first thing in the morning, replace that with reading or stretching. The more you connect new habits to existing ones, the easier they stick. And most importantly, remove unnecessary friction. If you struggle to wake up early, set your alarm across the room. If you waste time deciding what to wear to the gym, lay out your clothes the night before. If social media distracts you, block it. Make action easy and inaction hard. Momentum is a powerful force. The more you harness it, the less effort you'll need to stay productive. Over time, action will become effortless, and hesitation will become unnatural. You won't have to force yourself to take action. Your brain will do it automatically. Chapter 24, Emotional Resistance. You know exactly what you need to do. You've read the books, watched the videos, and planned your steps. But when it's time to act, something inside you resists. You feel stuck. You find excuses. You tell yourself you're not ready. This is emotional resistance, and it's the biggest reason people fail to take action. Emotional resistance isn't logical. It doesn't care about facts. It doesn't respond to motivation. It's a deep, subconscious fear that tries to keep you where you are. Maybe it's fear of failure, fear of discomfort, or fear of what others will think. But no matter the cause, the effect is always the same: paralysis. If you don't learn to overcome emotional resistance, it will control your life. You will stay in the same place, repeating the same patterns, wondering why nothing ever changes. But once you understand how to break through, nothing will ever hold you back again. The first step is acknowledging the fear. Most people try to ignore or suppress their emotional resistance. They pretend it's not there. But the more you fight it, the stronger it becomes. Instead, call it out. Say to yourself, I feel resistance right now, but I won't let it stop me. Recognizing the fear weakens its power. The second step is detaching from your feelings. Just because you feel like avoiding something doesn't mean you have to obey that feeling. You are not your emotions. Your brain may send signals of doubt, fear, or discomfort, but you can choose to move forward anyway. The most successful people take action regardless of how they feel. The third step is exposure therapy. The more you face discomfort, the less power it has. If public speaking scares you, force yourself to speak more often. If rejection terrifies you, put yourself in situations where rejection is possible. Over time, what once felt impossible becomes second nature. Action is the cure to fear. And finally, remind yourself of the cost of inaction. Every time you let emotional resistance win, you reinforce the habit of avoiding action. You stay stuck. You miss opportunities. You watch life pass you by. Ask yourself, do I want temporary discomfort now or a lifetime of regret later? The truth is, resistance will always be there. It will never fully disappear. But you don't have to let it control you. The moment you decide to act, despite how you feel, you take your power back. And once you break through that first wall of resistance, you become unstoppable. Chapter 25. Embrace failure. Every successful person will tell you the same thing. Failure is inevitable. It's part of the process, part of the growth, and part of success. Failure isn't a sign that you're doing something wrong. It's a sign that you're doing something right. The fear of failure holds so many people back from even trying. But the truth is that failure is the gateway to improvement and mastery. When you set out to accomplish something, it's almost guaranteed that you will face setbacks, obstacles, and moments when things don't go as planned. But these moments are not failures. They are lessons. They are the universe's way of telling you that you need to change your approach, try harder, or be more creative. The key is how you respond to failure. If you let it crush your spirit and hold you back, you'll never reach your potential. If you embrace it as part of the journey, you'll keep moving forward, learning from each misstep. Successful people fail often. They fail fast. They fail forward. And most importantly, they never stop failing because they know that with every failure, they're getting closer to success. One powerful way to shift your mindset about failure is to reframe it as feedback. Instead of thinking, "I failed," tell yourself, "This didn't work, but I learned something valuable." The more you practice this mindset, the less fear you'll have when you face failure. Every mistake becomes an opportunity to improve, and every setback pushes you closer to your goal. Another crucial concept is failing in small doses. Don't expect to change everything at once. Start small, take risks, and when something doesn't work, analyze it, adjust, and try again. The more you fail early, the less afraid you will be of the bigger failures down the line. Remember, the more you fail, the more you learn. And the more you learn, the closer you get to success. Failure will never feel comfortable, but it doesn't have to stop you. Embrace it, learn from it, and most importantly, keep moving. The more action you take, the less failure will hold you back, and the closer you will come to achieving everything you've ever wanted. Chapter 26. The Power of Consistency. Taking action is a choice. But what happens when that choice becomes automatic? What happens when taking action isn't something you have to force, but something that just happens every day, no questions asked? This is the power of consistency. Consistency is the difference between those who succeed and those who fall short. It's easy to start something, but it's much harder to keep going when the initial excitement fades. But success doesn't come from starting. It comes from showing up every single day, even when you don't feel like it. The most successful people in the world didn't get there by doing something once. They got there by doing it repeatedly. Building consistency starts with setting small, manageable goals. If you're trying to build a habit, don't aim for perfection right away. Aim for progress. Even if you only take one small action a day, you're moving forward. Over time, these small actions will compound, and before you know it, they will become ingrained in your routine. A powerful tool to build consistency is to track your progress, whether it's a calendar where you check off each day you show up or a journal where you record your wins. Tracking progress keeps you accountable and motivated. Every time you see how much you've done, you're less likely to stop. Another strategy is creating systems, not goals. Goals are great for motivation, but systems are what keep you going. Instead of thinking, "I want to lose 30 pounds, think, "I will exercise for 30 minutes every day." When you build systems that make taking action effortless, you don't have to rely on willpower or motivation. You just do it. Remember, consistency doesn't mean perfection. There will be days when you slip up, miss a workout, or fail to meet your target. That's okay. The key is to get back on track the next day and keep going. It's not about being perfect. It's about being persistent. If you stay consistent, you will eventually achieve the success you're aiming for, and the action will become a natural part of who you are. Chapter 27. The Role of Environment. Your environment plays a massive role in shaping the actions you take. If you're constantly surrounded by people who aren't motivated, who complain about everything, and who never take any risks, how do you expect to build momentum? It's difficult to stay on track when your environment constantly pulls you in the opposite direction. This is why the people you associate with, the spaces you work in, and the energy you surround yourself with are so important. Take a hard look at your environment. Is it helping you grow, or is it holding you back? Do you have people in your life who encourage you to take action, or do they make excuses and stay stuck? Surround yourself with people who inspire you to act, who hold you accountable, and who make you want to be better. If your circle doesn't lift you up, it's time to find new people who do. In addition to the people around you, your physical environment matters too. If you're trying to work in a cluttered space with distractions everywhere, it's going to be hard to focus and take action. Create an environment that supports your goals. If you want to be productive, set up a workspace that is organized, clean, and free of distractions. If you want to be healthier, stock your fridge with nutritious foods and remove the junk. Your environment should be a reflection of the life you want to create. It's not enough to want to take action. You have to create the conditions for action to happen. If your environment is full of excuses and distractions, it will be harder to act. But when you consciously design your surroundings to foster action, you will find yourself moving forward with ease. Surround yourself with inspiration, motivation, and people who push you to be your best, and taking action will feel natural. Chapter 28. Mastering Discipline. Discipline is often misunderstood. People think it's about being strict with yourself, forcing yourself to work when you don't want to, or sticking to a rigid schedule. But in reality, discipline is about freedom. It's about making the tough decisions today so that you have the power to choose what you want in the future. When you start any new goal or project, motivation fuels your fire. You feel excited, energized, and ready to tackle anything. But motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes like the wind. Discipline, on the other hand, is what keeps you going when motivation fades. It's the ability to show up day after day, even when you don't feel like it. Mastering discipline isn't about denying yourself pleasure or pushing yourself to the point of exhaustion. It's about creating systems and routines that make it easier to stick to your commitments. When discipline becomes a habit, it feels effortless. Instead of struggling to find the willpower to work, you'll just do it because it's part of your life. Start by making small, non-negotiable commitments to yourself. These could be as simple as committing to wake up at a certain time each day, or to do a 10-minute workout. The key is to set goals that are achievable and to follow through consistently. Over time, these small acts of discipline will build on each other, and you'll find that your ability to stay disciplined grows exponentially. One important concept is to stop relying on motivation to get things done. Motivation is unpredictable. It comes in waves, and it often leaves us when we need it most. But discipline doesn't depend on how you feel. It's the willingness to act, even when you're tired, frustrated, or distracted. When you rely on discipline instead of motivation, you'll always have a way to move forward. Conclusion. It all comes down to one simple truth. You have the power to change your life. The obstacles, the doubts, the fears, they are real, but they are not stronger than your will to succeed. Action is the key to unlocking your potential, and the more you choose to take that first step, the more you'll realize that success isn't a destination. It's a journey that begins with one decision. You don't need to wait for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, or the perfect conditions. The perfect moment is now. The perfect plan is taking action, and the perfect conditions are the ones you create. The road to success is filled with obstacles, but it's also filled with opportunities. Opportunities to grow, learn, and, most importantly, to take control of your destiny. So, what are you waiting for? The world isn't going to wait for you. The time to act is now. It's time to break free from the chains of hesitation and fear. It's time to make a decision and follow through. The power to transform your life is in your hands. You just have to take action. If this resonated with you, don't wait another second. Hit the like button, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to hear this message. And remember, you're not alone in this journey. If you want to dive deeper into the power of action and how to make it your new habit, check out the other videos. Let's keep this momentum going together. It's time to take control.